Everyone thought they knew how this story would end. The orphaned princess would marry the prince who raised her. They'd rule together. A fairy tale. But on her 18th birthday, everything shattered. The emperor, her childhood companion, gave her away to his most dangerous general in a cold political marriage. No explanation. No mercy. Just an imperial decree that destroyed a lifetime of expectations. But sometimes the life you didn't choose becomes the one you were always meant to live. This is that story. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments which country you're watching from. And if this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy listening. When I turned 18, Crown Prince Adrian ascended the dragon throne and proclaimed the dawn of the Lumina dynasty. In the second year of his reign, an imperial decree sent shockwaves through the capital. Princess Visha of Moonvale would be wed to General Noah, heir to the Duke of Stormwatch. The announcement threw the entire court into chaos. Everyone knew my story. How the Princess of Moonvale had lost both parents before her 5th birthday. How the Empress Dowager had taken me into the palace, raising me as her own. How I had grown up side by side with Adrian, the current emperor, sharing tutors, meals, and whispered secrets under moonlit pavilions. For 13 years we were inseparable. When Adrian studied military strategy, I sat beside him. When he practiced calligraphy, I ground his ink. When he snuck out to the night markets, I covered for him. And when his father, the late emperor, finally acknowledged him as crown prince, I was the first person he told. Everyone believed I would become empress. The noble ladies whispered about it at tea ceremonies. Ministers discussed it in hushed tones. Even the palace servants prepared for the day when Princess Visha would ascend as the most honored woman in the land. So when the decree was read aloud in the grand hall, the silence that followed was deafening. Adrian sat upon the dragon throne, his face as still as carved jade, betraying no emotion, no guilt, no regret, nothing. He was using his childhood companion, the woman everyone believed he loved, as a pawn in a political marriage. The court was witnessing the birth of a truly ruthless emperor. But if I am honest, I understood immediately what he was doing. The Stormwatch military family controlled 30,000 elite cavalry. For 3 generations, they had protected the borders, amassing power and prestige that rivaled the imperial household itself. Duke Theodore of Stormwatch was loyal, but his son Noah was brilliant, dangerous, and utterly unreadable. A military genius who had crushed rebellions in the south and executed traitors in the north, Noah commanded absolute loyalty from his soldiers. At just 24 years old, he was both the empire's greatest asset and its greatest threat. Adrian needed to secure that loyalty, and he was willing to sacrifice anything, even me, to do it. The imperial decree was sealed with the dragon's mark. There would be no reversal. The wedding date was set for the 6th day of the 6th month, only 3 months away. His Majesty personally ordered that I move out of the palace at once to prepare for marriage. My new residence was selected in the most prosperous ward of the capital, directly beside Adrian's former mansion from before his ascension, and directly opposite the Duke of Stormwatch's estate. The symbolism was impossible to miss. The emperor placing his childhood companion between his own former home and his most powerful general's stronghold. In addition to the residence, I was granted 3 merchant houses in the wealthiest districts and 2 countryside estates, one near the capital walls and another at Misty Peak Mountain, along with revenue rights from 5,000 households and command over 2 palace guard battalions totaling 1,200 soldiers. The generosity defied all protocol. People could only shake their heads in wonder. His Majesty's heart was truly unfathomable, capable of both tender sentiment and cold calculation. On the 6th day of the 6th month, under cloudless summer skies, I married General Noah, heir to the Duke of Stormwatch. I departed from my own princess's mansion, and my dowry procession stretched from the northern gate to the southern walls, winding through every major street in the capital. 72 chests of gold and jewels, 40 bolts of the finest silk, 20 sets of jade ornaments, scrolls, paintings, furniture, and ceremonial vessels. A display of wealth meant to announce that Princess Visha was not being cast aside. I was being elevated. General Noah came to greet the procession in person, leading a full battalion of his famed Iron Wing cavalry. They were magnificent, each soldier clad in gleaming black armor, each horse bred for war, moving in perfect formation through the crowded streets. The common people lined the roads, cheering and throwing flowers. They cared nothing for political marriages. To them, this was a celebration. Their beloved princess marrying their greatest war hero. Long live Princess Visha! Blessings to the general and his bride. Noah sat tall on his warhorse, a massive black stallion that seemed to sense its master's mood. He acknowledged the cheers with a slight nod, his expression carved from stone. His face was devastatingly handsome. Sharp cheekbones, strong jaw, dark eyes that revealed nothing. No joy. No warmth. Nothing to suggest this was his wedding day. When the procession finally reached the Duke's mansion, my bridal sedan came to a stop. Noah dismounted and approached. According to tradition, the groom should lift the bride from the sedan and carry her across the threshold. But Noah did not reach for me. Instead, he held out one end of a long crimson silk ribbon, the traditional symbol of the red thread of fate that binds married couples. It was a gesture both proper and distant, preserving ceremony while avoiding physical contact. A polite rejection, wrapped in ritual. I stared at the ribbon for a heartbeat, feeling the weight of 100 watching eyes. Then I grasped the silk and allowed him to lead me forward. We stepped over the ceremonial fire basin meant to ward off evil spirits, then crossed the threshold into the main hall of the Stormwatch estate. The Duke's family was already assembled. Noah's father, Duke Theodore, stood at the center, a weathered warrior in his 50s with kind eyes that seemed to apologize for his son's coldness. His mother, Duchess Helena, was elegant and serene, though tension lingered in her shoulders. The hall was filled with extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, and their children. The Stormwatch clan was large and distinguished, bound by generations of military service. Noah, as the Duke's only son, would one day inherit both the title and command of the family's formidable forces. The hall was magnificent, adorned with peonies and orchids, red lanterns casting warm light over lacquered wood and painted screens. Incense smoke curled toward the ceiling. Musicians played softly in the corner. It should have been beautiful. It felt less like a wedding than a funeral. With the matchmaker singing traditional verses, Noah and I bowed to heaven and earth, then to his parents and finally to each other. Only after we were seated upon the ceremonial marriage platform did Noah release the crimson ribbon that connected us. The Stormwatch family was known for military discipline and moral uprightness, and even the youngest among them were unusually quiet tonight. Perhaps they did not yet see me as the new mistress of the household. Perhaps they still saw me as Princess Visha, the untouchable imperial companion. The ceremony was officiated by elder attendants sent directly from the palace, ensuring every detail met royal standards. When the time came, Noah lifted the ceremonial balance scale and used it to raise my red veil, as tradition required. Light flooded in. The fragrance of burning sandalwood deepened. Our eyes met. For a brief, endless moment, Noah and I simply looked at each other. His eyes were darker than I had expected, deep and unreadable, like wells without visible bottom. There was intelligence there and caution and something else I could not yet name. I blinked first, then gave my new husband, this stranger, this legend, a small genuine smile. A murmur rippled through the hall. Someone gasped. Children giggled. The tension loosened, dissolving like mist beneath the morning sun. Red candles flickered. Warmth spread through the air. Someone began to sing softly. When autumn wind meets spring rain, their union surpasses 10,000 bonds on earth. Having lived most of my life in the imperial palace, I had always been praised for my intelligence and grace. To most people I was a distant figure, beautiful, untouchable, almost ethereal. Now they could finally see me clearly, and they studied me with undisguised curiosity. Thanks to my late mother, I was blessed with beauty. Before Adrian became emperor, he once joked that it was fortunate the late emperor was truly my uncle by blood. Otherwise, given his father's well-known appetite for beauty, I might have been forced into the absurd position of becoming Adrian's stepmother. My face was delicate and serene, like white jade touched by moonlight, like lotus flowers reflected on still water. When I kept silent, I looked every bit like the celestial maidens from ancient paintings. A little girl nearby suddenly whispered, "The bride is so pretty." Her mother quickly shushed her and pulled her back. I smiled at the child and said gently, "You're very beautiful too, little one." My words lightened the atmosphere. Laughter rippled through the hall. The matchmaker brought forward a tray and offered Noah the ceremonial scissors. He took them, cut a lock of his own hair, then leaned toward me to take a strand of mine. Our breaths mingled, carrying warmth and the faint scent of sandalwood. He was careful, controlled. His fingers never once brushed against my clothes or skin. The matchmaker sang again, bound by hair, husband and wife, until your hair turns white, never to part. We drank the ceremonial wine, arms crossed and cups exchanged, and completed the ritual. Noah lowered his gaze and said quietly, "Your Highness, please have the servants bring your meal. I must attend to the guests. You needn't wait up for me." He left to join the banquet, and even the teasing relatives withdrew politely. Only 2 women remained, both graceful and kind-faced. The taller one smiled first. "Your Highness, I am Aunt Margaret, wife of the Duke's younger brother. This is Aunt Celeste." The other woman, rounder and gentler, added quickly, "My daughter spoke out of turn earlier. Please don't take offense." She started to make the child bow formally. I stopped her at once, saying warmly, "After tonight we're family. Please just call me Visha." The 2 women exchanged uncertain glances but still insisted, "Your status is noble, Your Highness. We mustn't break propriety." I sighed inwardly. Even after becoming someone's wife, they still treated me with palace formality. It wasn't me they respected. It was the emperor standing behind me. Noah didn't return that night. I waited until the candles burned down to stubs, then finally dismissed the servants and went to bed alone. The bridal chamber felt enormous and empty. Red silk hangings stirred in the night breeze. The marriage bed, wide enough for 3 people, mocked me with its emptiness. So this is marriage to a general, I thought. An empty room and cold sheets. The next morning I woke to find Noah already gone. A servant informed me he had left before dawn to inspect the troops. He would return by evening. He didn't. This pattern continued for 3 days. Noah left before sunrise and returned long after midnight, ensuring I was already asleep. We were married, living in the same residence, and yet we might as well have been strangers in different provinces. On the 4th morning I'd had enough. I rose before dawn, dressed in riding clothes instead of silk robes, and had my horse saddled. When Noah emerged from his study, clearly surprised to see me awake, I smiled sweetly. "Good morning, husband. I thought I'd accompany you to the training grounds today." His expression flickered, the first genuine reaction I'd seen from him. "Your Highness, the military camp is no place for a woman?" I finished, swinging myself onto my horse. "I grew up watching the palace guard train every morning. I think I can handle observing formation drills." Before he could protest further, I spurred my horse forward. Behind me, I heard Duke Theodore's booming laugh. "She's got spirit, that one. You picked quite a wife, boy." Noah had no choice but to follow. The Iron Wing Cavalry training grounds lay in the Western Military District, a vast complex capable of accommodating 5,000 soldiers. When we arrived, the men were already assembled, row upon row of warriors in black leather armor, weapons gleaming in the morning sun. The moment Noah appeared, they snapped to attention with military precision. But when they saw me riding beside him, confusion rippled through the ranks. Princess Visha. At a military camp. On horseback. Noah dismounted and addressed his troops with calm authority. "Men, this is Princess Visha, my wife. Show proper respect." "Lady Visha!" They roared in unison, fists to chests. I inclined my head gracefully, then surprised everyone by asking, "May I observe the formation drills?" Noah hesitated, then nodded. "As you wish." For the next 2 hours, I watched from horseback at the edge of the field as the cavalry trained. They were magnificent, moving as a single unit, executing complex maneuvers with seamless precision. Noah commanded them with minimal words, his presence alone inspiring absolute obedience. This was the man the emperor feared. Not because he was cruel or ambitious, but because he was competent beyond measure. Soldiers did not follow Noah out of obligation. They followed him because they believed in him. No wonder Adrian felt threatened. When training concluded, Noah approached me, his face unreadable. "Satisfied with your inspection, Your Highness?" "Very much so," I replied honestly. "Your soldiers are impressive. But Noah, we need to talk." His jaw tightened. "About what?" About why you're avoiding me. The words hung in the air between us. Something flickered in his dark eyes. Pain? Anger? I couldn't tell. This isn't the place for such a conversation, he said quietly. Then where is? I challenged. You're never home. You avoid me constantly. We're married, Noah. Whether you wanted this marriage or not, it's done. The least you can do is speak to me honestly. Silence stretched between us. Around us, soldiers pretended not to listen while absolutely listening to every word. Tonight, he said at last. We'll talk tonight. I promise. I nodded, satisfied with that much. As I turned my horse to leave, he called out, Visha. I looked back, surprised he'd used my name instead of my title. You ride well, he said. It was the first compliment he'd given me. Small but genuine. I smiled. Thank you, husband. That evening, Noah actually returned before midnight. I was in the garden, playing a cheen, the 7-string zither my mother had taught me before she died. The melody was melancholy, a song of separation and longing. When I finished, I looked up to find Noah standing at the garden entrance, watching me. How long have you been there? I asked. Long enough. He moved closer, sitting on the stone bench opposite mine. In the lantern light, his face looked softer, younger. You play beautifully. My mother taught me. Before she died. I know. His voice was gentle. Everyone knows your story, Princess. The tragedy of Moonvale. How you lost everything. Not everything, I corrected. I had Adrian. He was my family. Noah's expression darkened. And now he's given you away. To you, I pointed out. Why does that bother you so much? He was quiet, then finally said, Because I know why he did it. So do I replied calmly. He needs to secure your loyalty. The Stormwatch family is too powerful. He can't afford to have you as an enemy. So he married you to me as a hostage. Noah's voice was bitter. A chain to keep me obedient. I turned to face him directly. Is that how you see me? As a chain. I see you, he said slowly, as a woman who deserves better than a political marriage to a man who can never give you what you want. And what is it I want? Love. His eyes met mine, dark and honest. You want the man you grew up with. The Emperor. Don't deny it. Everyone believes it. I laughed softly, surprising him. Everyone believes they know. They see a princess raised in the palace and assume she must be in love with the prince. It makes for a tragic story, doesn't it? The heartbroken maiden, married off to a stranger. Aren't you? Heartbroken? I considered the question seriously. No. I won't pretend I wasn't hurt by Adrian's decision. We were close and he made a choice that changed my life without consulting me. That stings. But Noah, I was never in love with Adrian. He's my brother in all but blood. Nothing more. Noah studied me carefully, holding my gaze. The Emperor loves power, I continued. He always has. Even as children, he collected secrets and alliances the way other boys collected stones. I understood him well enough to know I would never be his empress. An empress is a companion, a partner. Adrian doesn't want a partner. He wants an empire. Then why did he give you such lavish gifts? Noah asked. Why place you between his old mansion and my estate? Why all this theater if he doesn't care for you? Because he does care, I said patiently. Just not romantically. Adrian is my family. He wants to ensure I'm protected. The gifts, the location, the ceremony, all of it is his way of telling the world and telling you that I matter. That anyone who harms me answers to the Emperor himself. Noah absorbed this in silence. So I'm meant to be both your husband and your bodyguard? You're meant to be my partner, I corrected. That's why Adrian chose you. Not only for your military power but because he trusts your character. He knows you won't mistreat me. How very strategic, Noah said dryly. It is, I agreed. But just because this marriage began as strategy doesn't mean it has to remain that way. We're bound together now. We can choose to make the best of it, or we can spend our lives resenting each other. Which would you prefer? He looked at me steadily, something close to admiration in his eyes. You really are as intelligent as the rumors claim. And you're exactly as stubborn. I stood and moved closer to him. So tell me honestly, can you accept this marriage? Can you accept me? Noah stood to his feet. We were close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. He was tall, broad-shouldered, built like the warrior he was. "I can accept you," he said quietly. "I just can't promise to be what you deserve." "I don't need promises," I replied. "I just need honesty. Can you give me that?" He nodded slowly. "Yes, I can give you that." "Good." I smiled up at him. "Then let's start there and see what happens." For the first time since our wedding, Noah smiled back. It transformed his face completely, softening the harsh warrior into someone almost gentle. "You're a dangerous woman, Princess." "Visha," I corrected. "When we're alone, just call me Visha." "Visha," he repeated, testing the name. Then more quietly, "I'm sorry I've been avoiding you. It wasn't fair." "No, it wasn't," I agreed. "But I understand why. This situation is strange for both of us. Let's just try. That's all I ask." Noah reached out and carefully, as if I might shatter, touched my hand. His fingers were callous from years of sword work, warm and solid. "I'll try," he promised. It was the beginning of something. Not love, not yet. But perhaps the foundation it might grow from. Over the following days, Noah and I settled into a strange, careful rhythm. He no longer avoided me, but neither of us crossed invisible lines. Each morning, he joined me for breakfast in the garden before leaving for his military duties. He spoke of troop movements and border concerns, and I shared the palace gossip I still received through letters from old friends. In the evenings, we walked the estate grounds or sat in companionable silence while I played music and he reviewed military reports. Sometimes we played strategy games, Go or chess, and I discovered Noah was devastatingly good at both. "You're too aggressive," he remarked one night as he captured another of my pieces. "And you're too cautious," I countered. "You could have won earlier." He only smiled and reset the board. We were polite, tentative, testing the shape of each other's presence. It worked until it didn't. "Your Highness." "General." A servant burst into the room bowing frantically. "His Majesty the Emperor has arrived." Noah and I froze. "Adrian, here." We made our way quickly to the main hall, where Emperor Adrian stood examining a painting with exaggerated interest, dressed in informal robes, or as informal as an emperor ever allowed himself. "Your Majesty," we bowed. He turned, grinning like the troublemaker I had grown up with, though I caught the sharp calculation behind his eyes. "I thought I'd stop in and see how my favorite sister is settling into married life." That was unlikely. The imperial palace lay on the opposite side of the capital. "Your Majesty honors us," Noah said carefully. "Oh, stop being so formal," Adrian waved a hand. "We're family now." His gaze flicked between us. "So, how's the marriage?" "Everything is fine," I said quickly. "Is it?" Adrian tilted his head. "Because I've heard you're being very careful with each other. Polite, restrained, like two people afraid of stepping wrong." Noah stiffened. "This conversation should be private," I said. "Excellent idea," Adrian replied cheerfully. "Everyone out. Except you two." The servants withdrew at once, leaving the hall heavy with silence. Adrian's expression shifted, the humor draining away. He turned to Noah. "I'm not here to reveal anything new," he said calmly. "Visha has already explained my intentions better than I ever could." Noah glanced at me, then back at the Emperor. "I'm here to make them binding." The air grew dense. "Yes, this marriage was strategic," Adrian continued. "But it was never meant to be a cage. I chose you because I trust you, not your army. You." He stepped closer. "You don't abuse power. You don't take what isn't freely given. And when you give loyalty, you give it completely." Then he turned to me. "I couldn't give you the life you deserve," Adrian said quietly. "Every bond one have is weighed down by the throne. I wanted you somewhere you could choose freely." He looked between us. "This marriage is not a chain. It's a shield." My eyes burned. "That's all I came to say." Adrian straightened and moved toward the door, then paused, his gaze locking onto Noah, cold and absolute. "If you ever hurt her, I will personally destroy you. Are we clear?" Noah dropped to one knee. "Perfectly, Your Majesty." Adrian nodded, satisfied. The warmth returned to his expression as he looked at me. "Be happy, Visha." That's an order. And then he was gone. The doors closed behind him, leaving Noah and me alone in the vast hall. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Finally, Noah said, his voice rough, "Did you know he would say all that?" No, I wiped my eyes. But it sounds like him. Adrian never does anything simply. Even his kindness is complicated. Noah let out a real incredulous laugh. The Emperor just threatened to ruin me if I mistreat you, and you call it kindness? Because it is, I said softly. In his way. He gave us permission to be more than pieces on a board. Noah stepped closer, studying my face. Do you want that? To be more than an arrangement? My heart pounded. Do you? Instead of answering, he reached out and gently cupped my face, his thumb brushing away a tear. I've been a coward, he admitted. Keeping my distance, telling myself it was honorable. But the truth is, I was afraid. Of what? Of wanting you. His voice dropped. From the moment I lifted your veil, Visha, I wanted you. And I thought I was the consolation prize. I couldn't bear wanting someone who would never truly want me back. Noah. I covered his hand with mine. You're not a consolation prize. His eyes darkened. If we do this, truly do this, I won't do it halfway. I'll want all of you. Your heart. Your trust. Everything. Then it's fortunate, I said, rising onto my toes until our faces were inches apart, that I want exactly the same thing. Noah kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate, like something long restrained finally breaking free. His arms wrapped around me, pulling me close, and I melted into him. He tasted of tea and determination. When we finally parted, breathless, he rested his forehead against mine. I should court you properly, he murmured. We're already married, I said softly. I think we can skip a few steps. He laughed. Even so, I want you to know you're choosing me, not obligation. Then court me, I said, smiling. Show me who you are beneath the armor. Let me show you who I am beyond the princess. And then we'll see where it leads. I kissed him again, softer this time. Somewhere good. And so our story truly began. Over the following weeks, Noah courted me with an intensity that left me breathless. He brought me wildflowers from the mountains during his military patrols. He commissioned a master craftsman to create a new chain for me, its surface inlaid with mother-of-pearl in patterns that echoed the embroidery on my wedding robes. He taught me to ride the way cavalry soldiers rode, fast and fearless, wind whipping our clothes as we raced across the training fields. In return, I showed him a gentler world he had never had the chance to explore. I taught him calligraphy, laughing as his soldiers' hands struggled with the delicate brushwork. I introduced him to poetry and music beyond the beat of war drums. When he spoke of military dilemmas, I listened, questioned, and offered perspectives he had never considered. We talked for hours about everything: politics, philosophy, dreams for the future. Noah told me about his childhood, growing up beneath the weight of military expectations. I told him about the loneliness of being a princess without a kingdom. Always welcomed, never quite belonging. You belong now, Noah said one evening as we sat together in the garden, my head resting against his shoulder. Here. With me. I smiled, lacing my fingers through his. Yes. I do. 3 months after our wedding, on a warm autumn night, Noah finally led me to his chambers. Not the bridal suite we had used only for ceremony, but his private rooms, simpler, more personal, filled with military maps, worn books, and the familiar scent of sandalwood. Are you certain? He asked one last time, his hand trembling slightly as it cupped my face. I've never been more certain of anything, I replied. That night, we truly became husband and wife. It was everything I had hoped for. Tender and passionate, intense and sweet, two people finally laying down their defenses and choosing each other without reservation. Afterward, as we lay entwined, Noah traced idle patterns along my shoulder and whispered, I love you, Visha. I don't know when it happened, but I do. Completely. I turned to face him, studying his beloved features in the soft candlelight. I love you too. My husband. My partner. My Noah. He kissed me again, and I thought about the strange turns of fate. How the political marriage I had once feared had become the greatest gift I could have imagined. News of my happiness must have reached the palace, Because Adrian summoned Noah and me to the imperial court 6 months into our marriage. We arrived at dawn, dressed in full court attire. The great hall was already crowded with ministers and nobles, all watching with barely concealed curiosity as the princess and her general approached the dragon throne. Your Majesty, we bowed together. Adrian sat upon the throne looking every inch the emperor he had become. Yet when his gaze fell on me, I saw unmistakable warmth in his eyes. General Noah, Adrian said, his tone formal. I hear your marriage to Princess Visha has been successful. More than successful, Your Majesty, Noah replied. His hand found mine without hesitation. It has been the greatest honor of my life. A ripple of whispers moved through the hall. Public displays of affection in the throne room were almost unheard of. Adrian's lips curved faintly. I am pleased to hear it, because I have a proposition for both of you. At his gesture, servants brought forward a great map of the empire and spread it across a long table. The northern territories remain unstable, Adrian said. Warlords feud, border tribes raid unchecked, and the people suffer for it. I require someone to bring lasting order to the region. Someone I trust without reservation. His gaze shifted to Noah. I appoint you Lord Protector of the Northern Reach. You will hold full military and administrative authority. Secure the borders. Build roads and fortifications. Establish law where there is chaos. Then he turned to me. Princess Visha, I appoint you Imperial Envoy to the North. You will oversee diplomacy, cultural integration, and civilian governance. Between the two of you, the North will have both strength and stability. I looked at Noah and saw my own feelings reflected in his eyes. This was not exile. It was trust. It was opportunity. A chance to build something together. Your Majesty, Noah said, bowing deeply. We accept with gratitude. Good, Adrian said. Because I am finished with defensive wars. The Lumina dynasty must grow stronger, not merely survive. His eyes met mine. True power is not control. It is creation. Build something that will endure. When the formalities concluded, Adrian dismissed the court and asked us to remain. Once we were alone, he descended from the throne and approached us not as emperor, but as the man I had grown up beside. You look happy, he said quietly. I am, I replied. He turned to Noah. And you? Any regrets? Only one, Your Majesty, Noah said solemnly. Then he smiled. That it took me so long to understand what you had given me. Adrian laughed. A fair criticism. I admit I wasn't certain it would work. Even emperors gamble when it comes to the heart. You gambled with both our lives, I said gently. I did, he agreed without apology. But I knew you both well enough to make an informed wager. You are stubborn, loyal, and far too honorable for your own good. I believe that once you stopped fighting the shape of the marriage, you might find what you truly wanted. He turned toward the doors, then paused. And Visha, thank you. For what? For not hating me, he said simply. I know it felt cruel, but I could not allow you to waste your life waiting for something that would never exist. You deserved more than the role of a tragic princess. Tears pricked my eyes. You're a terrible romantic, Adrian. I'm a pragmatist, he corrected. But even pragmatists want the people they love to be happy. His grin returned. Now go. Save the northern territories. And try to name at least one child after me. Adrian has a fine sound to it. Your Majesty, Noah began. That was an imperial suggestion, Adrian said sternly. I expect compliance. As we left the palace, Noah squeezed my hand. Did the emperor just authorize children? I believe he issued a command, I replied, laughing. Noah pulled me into his arms in the courtyard, unconcerned with who might see. Then we should begin fulfilling imperial orders at once. I kissed him, tasting joy, love, and the promise of everything yet to come. I think that would be wise. Noah and I departed for the Northern Reach 3 months later, leading an army of 20,000 soldiers and 500 civilian administrators. The journey took 6 weeks, carrying us through mountains and plains, past villages that cheered our arrival and cities that opened their gates in welcome. Noah commanded the military forces with unwavering authority, while I handled negotiations with local leaders. Working in tandem, we became a formidable balance, strength tempered by restraint, force guided by diplomacy. The northern reach proved everything Adrian had promised. Chaotic, dangerous, and rich with possibility. Warlords carved the land into rival territories, fighting one another as often as they fought outside threats. The common people lived in constant uncertainty, never knowing which banner might descend upon their villages next. We established our headquarters in Silver Peak, the largest city of the region. From there, order was imposed slowly and deliberately. Fair taxation, restored roads and public works, courts of law where disputes could be settled without bloodshed. The work took months. Some warlords submitted once they witnessed the discipline of our forces. Others resisted and were crushed. Noah led campaigns against the most defiant, while I negotiated alliances with those willing to lay down their arms and join the empire peacefully. At night, when we returned to our private chambers exhausted by the day's demands, we found solace in each other's presence, sharing wine, quiet conversation, and the comfort of familiarity. "Do you ever regret this?" Noah asked one evening after a particularly hard-fought campaign. "You could have remained in the capital, lived in comfort, hosted elegant gatherings. Instead, you're here, enduring mud, soldiers, and rebellious warlords." I turned to face him, tracing the fresh scar on his shoulder, still tender from the day's fighting. "I don't regret a single moment. This is real, Noah. We're building something that matters. Something that will endure long after we're gone." "You sound like the Emperor," he said with a faint smile. "Then he taught me well." I pressed a gentle kiss to the scar. "Besides, luxury grows dull. I would rather face hardship with you than sit alone in silk." Noah drew me closer, his voice low and certain. "I love you, Visha. More with every passing day." I rested my forehead against his. "And I you. Always." 3 years into our governance of the Northern Reach, word arrived from the capital. Empress Helena had given birth to a crown prince. Adrian finally had an heir. With the announcement came a personal letter from my brother. "Little sister, the empire is secure. My son will inherit the throne, and the dynasty will endure. This grants me the freedom to pursue expansion and reform. Everything we once spoke of as children dreaming of changing the world. I hear the Northern Reach flourishes under your rule. Villages that once lived in fear now host markets and festivals. Roads connect cities long isolated. The warlords have either submitted or been removed. In short, you and Noah have done exactly what I believed you would, turned chaos into civilization. I am promoting Noah to the rank of marshal, with authority over all northern military forces. And I grant you the title of Duchess of Silver Peak, with hereditary lands and income befitting the role. Your descendants will inherit both military and civilian authority over the region." "Yes, descendants. Plural. I expect regular progress reports. Come visit when you can. The palace feels emptier without you, though I suppose that is the price of gambling on your happiness and winning. Your brother now and always, Adrian, Emperor of Lumina." I read the letter aloud to Noah, laughing through tears. He shook his head in fond exasperation. "Your brother is incorrigible." "He's the Emperor," I replied. "He's allowed to be." Noah drew me into his lap, his hands settling at my waist. "About those children he mentioned." I smiled, guiding his hand to my belly, where our first child was already growing. "I think we're ahead of schedule on that imperial directive." His eyes widened. "You're? Visha, why didn't you tell me?" "I only learned yesterday," I said softly. I wanted the moment to be right. Noah kissed me with such reverence it made my heart ache. "A child. We're having a child." "We are," I said. "A daughter, I think. I want to name her Celine." "Celine." He tested the name then smiled. "Perfect. Though if it's a boy, we are honor-bound to name him Adrian." I smiled. "Agreed." Our daughter was born 7 months later, in the heart of winter, when snow lay thick over Silver Peak. She had my eyes and Noah's stubborn chin, and from her first breath, she was a promise fulfilled. When we sent word to the capital, Adrian's response was predictably extravagant. An imperial decree naming Princess Celine of Silver Peak a treasure of the empire, accompanied by gifts so lavish they required 3 wagons to transport. "Your brother is going to spoil her beyond reason," Noah observed as we sorted through jade toys and silk blankets. "He spoils everyone he loves," I said, watching our daughter sleep peacefully. It's one of his few weaknesses. Noah wrapped his arms around me from behind, resting his chin atop my head. Do you ever wonder what might have happened if things had gone differently? If the emperor had married you instead? I considered the question carefully. I think I would have been unhappy. Adrian needs an empress who thrives on court politics and power. That was never me. I turned in his arms to face him. I needed this. Partnership. Building something real. A life that feels earned. Even when it's covered in mud, he teased. Especially then. Kissed him. You're bound to me, Marshal Noah. For the rest of our lives. Good, he murmured. Because I would choose this life again every time. 5 years after our arrival in the Northern Reach, the transformation was complete. What had once been a patchwork of warring territories had become a prosperous province. Roads linked every major city. Markets thrived. Learning halls taught common children their characters and numbers. Magistrates heard disputes openly and rendered judgments according to law. Most importantly, the people no longer lived in fear. Noah commanded respect from soldiers and former warlords alike, not through intimidation, but through competence and honor. His victories were legendary, but so was his restraint in dealing with defeated enemies. I forged diplomatic ties with neighboring kingdoms, turning potential threats into trading partners. The cultural exchange programs I established drew scholars, artists, and merchants from across the known world to Silver Peak, transforming it into a center of learning and innovation. Together, we had built something extraordinary. When Adrian finally visited the Northern Reach, a rare journey for an emperor who seldom left the capital, he stood atop Silver Peak's walls, gazing out over the thriving city with undisguised pride. You've done well, little sister, he said quietly. Better than I imagined. We both did, I replied, gesturing toward the courtyard below where Noah drilled troops. You were right. About him. About us. Adrian smiled. I am always right. I am the emperor. You're insufferable, I said fondly. That too. He turned serious. But truly, Visha, thank you. For trusting me when I seemed cruel. For taking the chance I offered. For proving that even political marriages can become something real. Did you ever doubt it would work? I asked. Honestly? A little. He grinned. But concealing doubt is an essential imperial skill. Noah joined us on the wall and bowed. Your Majesty. The troops are prepared for inspection. Excellent. Adrian clapped him on the shoulder. Walk with me. I want to see everything you've built. For 3 days we showed him the Northern Reach. Its learning halls and medical houses, its roads and markets. Adrian asked sharp questions, challenged assumptions, and urged us to think even further ahead. On his final evening, he hosted a private dinner for just the 3 of us, along with 4-year-old Celine and our newborn son Adrian. Yes, we had kept our promise. To family, Adrian toasted. Both the one we're born into and the one we choose. To family, Noah and I echoed. Celine raised her cup of milk solemnly. To Papa and Mama, Adrian laughed, eyes warm. And to brave little princesses who will undoubtedly cause their father many sleepless nights in about 12 years. Noah groaned. Don't remind me. I watched them, the emperor, the marshal, and my infant son, and felt something settle deep in my chest. This was family. Not perfect. Not predictable. But real hard one and ours. Later, when the children had been put to bed, Adrian grew thoughtful. The Western territories are becoming unstable, he said quietly. Much like the North once was. I need someone I trust. Noah and I exchanged a glance. We had built something lasting, but neither of us feared beginning again. We'll do it, I said. On one condition. Name it. We train successors here first. What we've built must endure. Agreed, Adrian said without hesitation. 2 years to secure the transition. Then you move west. It will be done, Noah said. I know. Adrian embraced me, then clasped Noah's shoulder. That's what family does. We build. We protect. We trust. After he departed, Noah and I stood on the battlements, watching the imperial procession fade into the night. Another adventure, he murmured. Are you ready? I leaned into him, content and unafraid. As long as you're with me, I'm ready for anything. Even more mud? Especially more mud. kissed him. That's where all the best stories begin. Below us, Silver Peak glowed with lamplight, a testament to what partnership could achieve. Above us, the stars wheeled endlessly on, bearing witness to a promise kept and a future still being written. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories every day. Thanks for watching.